It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Thursday, the 4th of September. I'm Michael Groff. We'll start with the good news. Showers and thunderstorms rolled into the valley last night and through the overnight hours, bringing about gusty winds, blowing dust, but more importantly, rain. And while just about everybody did pick up at least some precipitation, there are many of you that got absolutely drenched with a widespread area of 1/2 to 1 inch of precipitation, some spots getting as much as 2 inches of rain overnight here across the south central deserts, including the Phoenix area. And yes, that is good news, but unfortunately, this has thrown yet another complicating wrench into today's forecast, which was already looking pretty murky. So, another question that we're going to add to the laundry list for today is, can we get this rain-cooled, stable air to start warming up? Can we get the atmosphere to turn over, add that thermodynamic support, the sun able to heat the ground heats the air, which helps those showers and thunderstorms to bubble up? We have some other ingredients in place for today. Plenty of moisture. You can feel that when you step outside. We do have some added dynamic forcing in the form of a trough just to the west of us. So, how will the next 24 to 48 hours play out? There are a number of opinions from our model guidance. We'll try to figure it out. We've got more questions than answers, as we typically do here in the weather world, but we'll dive in and talk about it in just a moment. Hey everyone, it's Michael Groff here to talk to you about your roof. With all the extreme weather we have in Arizona, you need a name you can trust, and that's why you should call Blackstone Roofing Group for all of your roofing needs. Call for your free inspection today. Big or small, they do it all. Tile, shingle, or flat roofing, they can help. Offering free inspections and more. Roofing made easy. Call 602-536-9363 or visit blackstoneroufinggroup.com to schedule your free inspection today. And if you tell them Michael Groff sent you, they'll take $500 off the price of your roof replacement. Again, that's 602-536-9363 or blackstoneroufinggroup.com. All right, we'll start out as we often do by taking a look at the almanac from yesterday. 106 degrees was the afternoon high. 78 was the low, but that did not occur in the morning. Instead, that was at 11:59 p.m. thanks to all of that rain-cooled air. Speaking of, 0.03 of an inch of rain officially in the bucket at Sky Harbor just before midnight, but there was another 0.15 after midnight. And so far, yes, Sky Harbor has had 0.18 of an inch. 104 and 82 are the averages for this time of year. We're way behind in rainfall. I really hope we can catch up to that. We'll see what we can do about that today, tomorrow, maybe even Saturday. As we take a look outside right now, just before 10 a.m., some clouds out there. That's not an encouraging sign, unfortunately. And look at this, just 81 degrees at Sky Harbor. And yeah, it's steamy out there. Dew points at 66, humidity at 62%, the wind from the north at 7, and the barometer is rising. Temperatures out there right now, 79 in Arcadia, Tempe, Buckeye, Surprise. A lot of mid to upper 70s. There's some low 80s. It's a little bit warmer over the East Valley where we're starting to get some sun poking out. So temperatures should begin to warm up there. And we're slowly going to get these clouds out of here. Looking at the satellite picture, putting this in motion. And again, the ingredients are on the board. Okay, high pressure sits to the north of us. We've got kind of this southerly flow that's developing thanks to a trough to the west, a ridge kind of the north and east of us. And we've got weakening tropical storm Lorena that's down to the south. That was a hurricane. It's weakening. And now there's kind of new information as to how Lorena is going to play out over the next day or two and might actually be a little bit more encouraging for us. Now, I want to emphasize Lorena will not enter Arizona as a tropical storm or a hurricane. It's not going to be anything, and it won't even enter Arizona such as it is. But some of that tropical moisture will continue to stream northward at least for the next day or so, and that should assist in producing more showers and storms around here. Here's the watch warning map. Of course, still hot over parts of the Pacific Northwest. Temperatures again up in the 90s. We've got wind for the northern plain states as another short wave rotates around a very impressive low that's over southern Canada, Ontario, and the northern Great Lakes. And that's just pulling down all that cool air up there. But for us, we've got a flood watch in effect for much of southern, southeast Arizona, the southwestern part of the state, and southeast California. Some areas included eastern Riverside and Imperial counties, places like Blythe. We've got Yuma, La Paz County. That includes Yuma, Parker, Quartzsite. Eastward, Maricopa County included in that, Gila Bend, the greater Phoenix area. Northwest Pinal County is in there. So, of course, the Southeast Valley locations are in that. Apache Junction's in there. Gila County, Graham, Greenlee, Cochise, and Eastern Pima, Santa Cruz County, the Tucson area, down toward Nogales and Douglas, Bisbee, Sierra Vista, the southeastern part of the state. So a lot of areas in this flood watch, and that's in effect from noon today until midnight. That was issued by the National Weather Service yesterday. As of the time I'm recording this, that's still in place. Don't know if the National Weather Service is going to think about canceling that because of prevailing weather conditions such as they are right now, but that might be a little premature to do that. We'll see how things play out over the next few hours. Convective outlook for today, we've got a marginal risk of severe storms along the Appalachians northward toward parts of central and western New York State, Pennsylvania in there. Oh, yeah, and we've got a little marginal risk over portions of Iowa and southwest Minnesota, southeast South Dakota. Here in Arizona, the entire state in the green. And yes, thunderstorms are possible anywhere in the state today. They'll be most numerous over the higher terrain, but where they fire elsewhere, that's a little bit of a lottery, isn't it? It's going to be very conditional. But we'll look for slightly more organized convection later today. Now, in the tropics, let's check that out in the Atlantic Basin. We have this wave out there in the central Atlantic continuing to make its way to the west, and it is given an 80% probability of developing over the next 7 days into a tropical depression or storm by the National Hurricane Center. Interests in the Lesser Antilles and even Puerto Rico, the Eastern Caribbean, might want to keep an eye on how this thing progresses. Will this impact the United States? Again, there is absolutely no way of knowing. I've already seen some of the crazies on social media, the bad actors that are already foretelling this as being, a category 27 for Florida. I mean, just absolute, fear mongering. We call it fear porn, and that's kind of what they're doing. But nobody knows. There's no skill right now. I don't know. You don't know. Your weather app doesn't know. Miss Cleo doesn't know. Nobody knows. But we'll see how it plays out. We're going to keep an eye on it. All right, in the East Pacific, more germane to us, we've got two systems on the board. All right. There's Tropical Storm Lorraine. There's Hurricane Kiko. We'll talk about Kiko here real quick. Yeah, it's a hurricane. This is going to be weakening, though, as it heads into cooler waters. It'll be approaching the Hawaiian Islands. Again, some trying to say that this will have significant impacts on Hawaii. This is going to be a weakening system as it gets to those cooler waters surrounding the island chain. But depending on how it plays out, this could still bring some rain and gusty winds to the islands. We'll have to keep an eye on it. But for now, it's not worth getting too worked up about. Here's Lorena. And Lorena is now the latest track here. You can see this is just going to fizzle out as it enters the Baja Peninsula and kind of crosses into the Sea of Cortez there. This is not going to track up the west coast of Mexico. It's not going to make it into mainland Mexico as perhaps a weakening tropical storm or even a tropical depression. This thing is just going to fizzle out. But that may not be the worst news for us, because what could happen is more of this moisture could get entrenched into this kind of deeper southerly flow that we have. And this may actually help shower and thunderstorm chances to linger just a bit longer across the southwest into the early part of this upcoming weekend. Yeah, it's a question mark, but we will talk about it in a moment. Here's the precipitation outlook. This is valid through Thursday morning of next week. Rain amounts in Phoenix, still anywhere from about 1/2 to 1 inch. And we could still see that heavier totals, those heavier totals down there along the international border in northern Mexico, where 2 to 3 inches are possible there. Any one spot, though, on this graphic, we tell you this every day, and it shows itself every day to be true. Any one spot can always get more than what's depicted here. This just represents an average of what we'll see across the region. So all of that having been said, let's figure out what's going on with this weather pattern in more detail. To do that, we explore the models. Here we go. Check it out. The GFS, the 06Z run valid at 5 o'clock this afternoon. The upper look at 500 millibars, about 18,000 feet off the ground. Big low that's up there over the northern Great Lakes and into Ontario. And we've got kind of a little short wave that's rotating around the southern end of that. That's bringing in bunch of wind across the Dakotas and Minnesota, and another reinforcing shot of cool air and pushing a front southward. And it is absolutely gorgeous in parts of the northern plains and the upper Midwest. Fantastic weather. Now, we still have our high pressure here over the west, but it's beginning to get squeezed. It is weakening. Still have something of an easterly flow around here, but we also have a stretched short wave, kind of this area, this trough that extends from Nevada through central and southern Arizona today, and that could be the focus for additional showers and storms to develop. So what it all means down at the surface for the rest of the day today. All right, partly sunny with widely scattered showers and thunderstorms this morning, but we'll start to see a few more storms popping up this afternoon. I think the prime area that we'll see storms will be, of course, over the higher terrain, eastern Arizona, southeastern portions of the state. We did have drier air in, but with this continued southerly flow that we're seeing, we're going to see some of that deeper pool of moisture from Lorena continuing to stream northward into the area. And so the moisture levels across the state are not going to be a problem. We have plenty of atmospheric moisture. It's going to be that dynamic support. We have this kind of weak trough that's stretched here and a little bit of forced descent. But we'd really like to get the clouds out of here and add in that thermodynamic support, the sun. The more sun that shines today across the state, the more unstable the air mass will get and the better chance we see showers and thunderstorms firing up. But even at that, without the sun, we'll still see at least scattered showers and thunderstorms. Now, as mentioned, we have a flood watch across the area. And so any storm that forms today would be capable of producing locally heavy rain that could lead to flood or flash flooding. Obviously, that's a concern. But widespread precipitation just isn't looking as likely today as yesterday, thanks to those overnight storms that we had, unfortunately. But let's try to figure it out, because I'll just tell you right now, our high resolution guidance, our convective allowing models that we lean on for these kinds of situations, well, they're all over the place. Like, for example, this is the HRRR. It's our high resolution rapid refresh model, the simulated radar product. And this is at 4 o'clock this afternoon. You can see scattered showers and storms across much of the state. Northwest Arizona, northeast of the valley and east of the valley and south of us. And no doubt a few of these storms will try to get in here, but we still have kind of this layer of stable air, at least somewhat more stable air with shallower lapse rates. We're going to need to get some good lift to really help to get storms going here. And the HRRR is not very encouraging for us to get storms in the valley this afternoon and tonight. Yeah, we could see a few, but if we take this run of the HRRR, and there have been many before this, and since I started recording this, there's been a couple of runs since, and again, they're kind of flip-flopping as to whether or not we'll see rain in here. So when in doubt, let's go to a couple other models. We'll really geek out. We've been doing this lately. People seem to like this. So let's take a look at a forecast sounding. Now, this is coming off the wrap. Okay, now this is, again, this afternoon about 4 o'clock. And I'll tell you this right now, quite candidly, the wrap is way, way, way too aggressive on CAPE values. Look at this. It's got CAPE values over 4,000 joules per kilogram. That's crazy. No way. It's got mixing ratios that are up over 15 grams per kilogram. And again, that's just way too high. This is overdone. All right. Even the lower level moisture, it's got dew points, up in the 60s and low 70s. That's overdone. So this model, I just think is not going to help with forecasting today. The 3 kilometer NAM this afternoon is a little bit more realistic. And if we were to take this at face value, we still have CAPE values between, over 1,500 joules per kilogram. And we still have some lift in the atmosphere, not nearly as much as the wrap was showing with lift indices at -8 and -9. Instead, they're a little bit lower than that, a little bit more realistic. And precipitable water values and mixing ratios are still good for producing storms. We have that dry air above right around the 18,000 foot level and above. And so that dry air that's going to be a problem. Now, if we can get some forced descent, if we can get that trough to the west to help push this very moist atmosphere up into that dry air and get that rapid cooling, that rapid evaporative cooling that takes place, yeah, you get the deeper convection that can form like we saw yesterday. So dry air in the mid-levels isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you have to have something to force that very moist air in the low levels up through that to get the rapid cooling. Then you can get that deeper convection to develop. And I don't know if we're going to be able to get that today, but that's going to be a big question. Still, I do think scattered showers and thunderstorms will be around where they occur, and it's not going to be everywhere, but where they happen, yeah, you could get some gully washers, some pretty heavy rain out of it. And no, high temperatures this afternoon are going to be down. That's the other thing that's going to help to limit thunderstorm activity. Highs only in the low to mid 90s. And it's going to be sticky out there. All right, now for tonight, again, scattered showers and thunderstorms around. Lows will mainly be in the 70s to near 80. Here's tomorrow. And tomorrow is a big question mark too. Now, since today may not be as active, tomorrow could turn out to be a little bit more so. We're going to see this drier air still kind of lingering around in the mid-levels, but we might have a little bit more forced descent tomorrow. We'll still have this moisture from Lorena kind of sitting to the south of us, and we'll still have some southerly flow bringing in some moisture. Will we have too many clouds around tomorrow? Will the atmosphere not be able to get warm enough to really get a good amount of convection going, deeper convection, the thermodynamic support to really kick off that convection tomorrow? That's just unclear, but tomorrow may turn out to be just a little bit more active. I'm not ready to completely rule out tomorrow as having an opportunity for showers and storms, but they will not be everywhere. They will not be widespread. Where they do happen, they could be very efficient rain producers. So we'll keep that in mind. All right, let's keep it going. This is Saturday. Now, Saturday is not looking like it's going to dry out as quickly as we originally thought. And the reason is, since Lorena is not going to make it in as a remnant low and kind of spin and bring in some drier air on the backside, and since this trough to the west may have a slightly slower progression, I think we'll still have at least a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms around during the day on Saturday. Again, they'll be hit and miss, and it's a very good possibility that some of you just don't see anything. But where those storms occur, again, they could produce some gusty winds and locally heavy downpours. And very heavy rain at that. Again, good, efficient rain producers because the air mass, especially down here in the lower part of the atmosphere, is going to be very wet. We're going to have high moisture content. So it's a very unpredictable type of atmosphere with random showers and thunderstorms that are very scattered, not necessarily organized. So that's going to be a concern. Even on Saturday, but temperatures will warm just a little bit. Again, the dry air is going to start to work its way in by late Saturday night and into Sunday, and that'll shut off these showers and storms. But Saturday could still be somewhat unsettled with high temperatures in the mid-90s to about 100. So low to mid-90s today, tomorrow, mid-90s to about 100 on Saturday. That's still below average. Let's go to Sunday. Now the flow aloft is really going to turn more southwesterly, and that's going to dry us out. And we had someone in the comments ask, why is southwesterly flow drier when you've got the winds that blow over the Gulf of California there? Well, because the waters in the East Pacific are cool. And even though you get brief wind flow over the Gulf of California, you're not going to get much moisture advection out of that drier air. Drier air is much more dense than wet air because water vapor is less dense than no water vapor because the atmosphere without water vapor in it has nitrogen and oxygen. With water vapor, it's H2O. It's hydrogen and oxygen, which is lighter than just dry air. So that's why drier air is more dense. It sinks down to the surface. You need good lifting. You need a lot of moisture. You need that forcing to really get that moist air up into the drier air. And just a tiny bit of advection off of the Gulf of California is not enough to overcome a preponderance of southwesterly flow and that very dense dry air that comes in from the East Pacific, unfortunately. All right, I wish I would have had a diagram for that, but that's kind of how it works. Introduction to fluid physics, to atmospheric science there. Met 101, I guess. All right, so that's how it goes for Sunday. Just dry air working its way in here. Showers and storms. There might be a couple over eastern Arizona, but that's about it. High temperatures will top out in the upper 90s to about 102 degrees. We'll warm it up ever so slightly on Monday. Highs upper 90s to about 103, but we're just not going to warm up much because troughing will sit to the west most of next week. Ridging's going to be over the plain states. We're going to be between those systems. It's just not going to warm up very much around here. Here's Tuesday. Highs again, upper 90s to about 102. Pretty much the same deal on Wednesday. And what's interesting is, and the GFS has really been leaning into this, this trough digs pretty far to the south. The base of it gets into Southern California. And negative height anomalies are just to the west, and that could help to draw some moisture from the south. Now, we talk about the Gulf of California. If you get due southerly winds, you have more time for those winds to be over the Gulf of California, the Sea of Cortez, whatever you want to call it, and bring in that moisture on up into southern central Arizona. Not to mention you have a lot of moisture that's sitting down there well to the south over off of the southern coast of Mexico. The waters are warmer down there. Deep layered southerly flow will help to pull that moisture back to the north. And so we'll see maybe some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms over the eastern third of Arizona. How far west those get remains to be seen, but that is a potential wild card for next week. Here's a week from today. This is Thursday, the 11th of September. And again, there's that upper low to the west of us and ridge to the east, a pretty good southerly flow. Again, widely scattered showers and thunderstorms could be around over the eastern third to eastern half of the state. We'll watch how that plays out. This is the same story as we go to Friday the 12th, although that low is weakening, but it's getting closer to us. And so we have the dynamics around for at least some widely scattered storms, and the GFS is really trying to pick up on that late next week. Other models have flipped and flopped on that, but it is, I suppose, conceivable. And obviously, if another tropical system develops down there, boy, we'd be in for a good push of tropical moisture. We'll keep an eye on that. This is the end of the forecast period. Here is Saturday, the 13th. And one thing you'll notice on the right-hand side of your screen, you got that tropical wave that we were talking about out there in the central Atlantic. Now the GFS has that north of the islands. And, of course, it's, tracking. We'll be tracking that. The GFS does this a lot. It develops these tropical cyclones and, brings them into weird locations, and people post it all over social media and gloom and doom it. But there's no way to tell where that's going to go right now. For us, we're looking like troughing to the north of us, and heights are pretty close to average, so temperatures would not be bad. We'd be in the upper 90s to about 102 if this verifies. And you could see synoptically, again, maybe a few showers and storms around here with that wave kind of pulling in that moisture from the south. And no, that is not a monsoon setup. Not at all. That is a mid-latitude cyclone drawing in moisture from the south. That is more of a fall look than it is a summer look. Looking at rainfall for Phoenix off of the GFS ensemble. This goes out through the 18th of the month. The ensemble mean is roughly 3/4 of an inch. Pretty much the same story off the European AI ensemble. You do have individual members that are up over 2 and 3 inches, but for the most part, you look at the mean on this. So we could see still some precipitation before all is said and done. Temperatures off the national blend of models. The trend is down. Yes. Today, tomorrow, Saturday, high temperatures staying below the triple digits. And even when they do return to triple digit heat, you don't see 110s on here. You really don't see us even getting to 105 in all probability, or maybe flirting with it, but that's about it. Highs generally around 101, 102, and that's pretty much in line with where we ought to be in mid-September. The average high temperature drops below 100 degrees on the climate page there on the 20th of September, but that doesn't mean that 100-degree days are magically done on that date. But, I think we got to start thinking about this now, I guess, the end of our 110-degree days, and maybe we can start looking ahead to the next milestone, and that is getting rid of those 100-degree days, but we probably still have about a month of those left to go. And that is going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here tomorrow morning. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you're really enjoying what we do here, you want to help us out, click that thanks icon below the video. That's a super thanks here on YouTube. Or via PayPal, groffshow@gmail.com is our PayPal address. It's groffshow@gmail.com for PayPal, or our Venmo, and that is also linked up down in the description. The executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my OAO, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona. Talking about my Michelle, check her out, blogs, videos, everything Michelle related, Adriana related, and now Kylie related. Yes, all of that is linked up down below. Our streaming station available 24/7, 365. We play a lot of music over there. Have a ton of fun with that. That's called KMGX, linked up below. And check out Dan over at the Courtroom Files YouTube channel. He helps us. He is a big supporter and great friend, not only of this channel, but of mine as well. And so I want you to check him out. The Courtroom Files on YouTube or courtroomfiles.com for all of your Courtroom Files merch. Plus, tonight, 8 p.m. East, 5 Pacific, you can see me over there on the Courtroom Files YouTube channel for a show we call Sidebar. It's myself, Dan, Ashley, and Bailey. We sit, we talk, we discuss all sorts of different matters. And do we ever solve the world's problems? No, we don't. But we just have a really enjoyable time, a really great conversation. So please check us out tonight, 8 p.m. East, 5 Pacific, right here, well, right over there on the Courtroom Files YouTube channel for Sidebar. Thank you guys so much for watching, all of your continued support. It's amazing. It is so greatly appreciated. You guys have really just stepped it up. I am humbled, I am flattered, and I am so thankful for you choosing this channel and for a source of weather information. All right? Really do appreciate it. Please, I want you to be safe. And even though it's cooler out there, still, you got to drink plenty of water. Stay cool, stay hydrated, and have yourselves a beautiful rest of your Thursday.